Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Snowstorm, the second edition of my new nightly interactive Hot Topics panel discussion show. And I'm actually trying to go live on. Oh, I have actually gone live on Instagram for the first time. So that's pretty wild. So you might wonder, all right, where am I broadcasting right now? I'm broadcasting to Instagram Live, Facebook, my public page, Twitter, X, LinkedIn, and at PromoHomo.TV. And our conversation tonight is what do 10,000 gay men, over 13,000 gay men, 13,100 according to the graphic, talk about on Facebook? So if you want to do a hot topic show, why not delve into the things that 13,000 gay men are talking about? So coming up in a couple of minutes on the show, I have Raymond LaFleur, who started the online community for gay men in Palm Springs at the beginning of COVID. So he's in the wings, ready to come on the air. But before I bring him on, I just wanted to share a few things with you. So if you are watching live and you have a question or make a comment, I can curate your remark onto the screen, just like you're seeing that remark there. Unless you're watching on Instagram, I don't have the ability to see your comments on Instagram. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to watch this on a different platform, such as youtube.com slash PromoHomo TV network, youtube.com slash PromoHomo TV network. And as an example, my good buddy Craig Prater is watching, saying, in reference to the 13,000 gay men on Facebook, they talk about everything. And Rock May, my supporter, is saying hello from Richmond, California, and he's offering Omni hugs. So you gotta love that. So without further delay, I'll go into the official opening of the show and we'll bring my guest on right away, and hopefully I'll be interacting with you as well. PromoHomo TV is all about empowering you, our communities, and our world. Shouting out to my media partners. Pink Media, amplifying PromoHomo TV across the Twitterverse with their hashtag I Love Gay campaign. GayDesertGuide.lgbt. And KGay 1065 Palm Springs, available worldwide. Ask your smart speaker to play KGAY. I got hungry for the stunning high mountain top. It's as simple as this. We will save our democracy in 2024, or we will watch the United States implode. I'm Nicholas Snow, and this crisis we face is why I have launched the Snowstorm, a nightly Hot Topics panel discussion show in which I will curate your social media comments into the show, and we will connect the conversation to action we can take to save America.
Watch the Snowstorm nightly at 6 p.m. Pacific at PromoHomo.TV.
At the top of the show, I showed you comments from two of my viewers, Craig Prater and Rock May. Both of them happen to be PromoHomo TV superstars. So this show has no advertisers, but people can support the program for as little as $3 a month. And something I'm going to be rolling out in coming weeks is that people who are subscribing at a level of $10 a month or more will have video call-in privileges. I'll be sharing a private link. So instead of just commenting on your social media, you can just randomly call into any particular show and make a comment that way. And we already have a fan of Raymond's. So since we have a fan of Raymond's, I'm going to bring Raymond LaFleur into the show right now. Welcome to the show, Raymond.
Thank you, Nick. Happy New Year to you and to all your viewers.
Well, I do have a lot of viewers, but you have an engaged audience of over 13,000 people all the time.
Well, and
And
one of your guests that you mentioned, Craig Prater, is one of the active members in our group.
I don't know how Craig Prater is so I've known him for decades. He's very active everywhere, and he's a wonderful guy. So I don't know if this was mentioned in your group or not, but one of the hot topics I wanted to talk about is how the liberals are going crazy about the New Year's Eve coverage on both CNN and MSNBC, which both displayed same sex kisses. And as a matter of fact, just after the midnight ball drop in New York City, the first CNN close up of a kiss were two guys passionately kissing, which I really loved. Did you happen to hear about that or catch that, Raymond? And was it mentioned in your group?
Yeah, I think one of our members posted it yesterday or this morning and pointed it out. And even to this day, I don't know what's going to take off, what subject will take off, and what won't in my group. But in this case, I think what was interesting was that people are just so used to seeing two guys kissing that that wasn't really what people noticed. They noticed was that they were Planet Fitness members.
Oh, okay then. So we have someone watching live from New Zealand. They're a LinkedIn user. I can't see their name, but loved the two men kissing, and I love it that someone is watching from New Zealand. One of my favorite films ever is a New Zealand film called Once Were Warriors, from decades ago. Check it out. And this person says your group is a very lively group.
Yeah,
So, Raymond, the group came about during the COVID epidemic.
yeah. At the very beginning, I think I sort of took over management of the group at the beginning of COVID. Um, there was a lot of fear in the community, given the demographic of Palm Springs. It's anywhere from 40 to 50% gay men, average age 60. It's a vulnerable group when it comes to COVID. And given that, I think the statistic is that Palm Springs has the highest percentage of HIV survivors in the country of any city. It was very important that we get accurate information out there, information about shots, where to get them. It was very difficult, very challenging to get these folks um, to find places where they could get the shots they needed, vaccines, and also anything related like what's safe, what's not safe, what's maybe safe. A lot of discussion around that, almost very reminiscent of the early 80s and the fear and panic and concern, lack information that existed relative to HIV/AIDS. It felt like deja vu during the entire COVID crisis.
It certainly did. I relate to that 100%. Craig Prater, getting back to our New Year's Eve kissing, he went to three parties, straight and gay. Gays were kissing, and it was just natural. And getting back to your point, Raymond, yeah, for many of us, it's really natural to see gay men or lesbians kissing, and but we have to remember we live in a bubble, and
Yes,
there are so many people that maybe the only time they watch CNN is when the ball is dropping, and that the rest of the time they're watching Fox News.
right.
So there are still people out there that are very hateful.
Oh, yes.
I had posted a hookup ad on Craigslist, and on Craigslist, you reach people from all walks of life. They don't really have a men for men section anymore. And someone sent me a message that they said, "I hope you get AIDS, cocksucker." I mean,
Horrible.
they just literally sent that to me. Um,
I mean, these
uh,
are things we've heard our whole lives, especially older or more elderly gay men. We've heard those kind of things our entire life, but even to this day, having heard it hundreds and thousands of times, it still has an impact.
It does, and that's why creating safe spaces, of which your group is a safe space, is so important. Now, getting going along with the community service that you fulfilled during the COVID pandemic, then we got whammied just over a year ago with the monkeypox
Oh, yes.
pandemic as well. It wasn't necessarily a pandemic, but it could have been. And it was really the response to the AIDS epidemic that prepared us to respond to COVID, and it was the response to COVID that really prepared us locally to respond to monkeypox. But if you thought the fear was there for COVID, it just seemed to be amplified among the gay male community with monkeypox.
Yeah, I think because again, it was focused on the gay community, and at first, there was a lot of denial within our own community that gay men were the most vulnerable. Of course, anyone could catch monkeypox. Um, any human could, but we were the most vulnerable demographic. So once again, it was another deja vu kind of crisis, and the challenges were the same: getting the right information out there, pointing people to where they could get shots, carpools to other counties to get shots. Because I'm not absolutely certain, but it seemed like California was distributing the vaccine by county population, where they should have been distributing it by percentage gay community. Um, in that case, Palm Springs would have gotten a lot more shots than they had, because the shots were almost non-existent during the early time frame of the monkeypox epidemic.
I happen to know that DAP Health used its connections to go directly to the CDC and bypass the
Yeah,
state of California in getting a lot of vaccines
right.
for the local community. I'm glancing over to my right for my viewers who want to know. Oh, we do have another remark. I like to keep our viewers engaged. Um, so whoever Wright is, he got throttled for equating monkeypox and AIDS. Thank you for mentioning it. Well, COVID, monkeypox, and AIDS had lots of in common, not to mention the stigma, which we're referring to. So I'm looking over at another monitor because I want to just look at the Gay Men of Palm Springs, California Facebook group. And we have someone that's looking to see the value of a gorgeous woman's cocktail ring. A friend, someone has a friend in their late 60s who's coming to Palm Springs for the first time and is looking for advice about clothing optional hotels. Um, there's a question about this symbol, wanting to know why it is a symbol of white supremacy. That's a hot topic, and they're showing a photo of, I don't know if it's photoshopped or not, of Mary Hart. And so here's something that you posted, and I think it's a hot topic. So um, I'm going to actually click through to the Desert Sun headline. So Indio business, this is the Desert Sun headline. Indio businessman put up 100,000 K for Trump inauguration, and they're referring to, and I cannot pronounce his first name accurately, so I won't. His name is Mr. Chandi. He's the president and CEO of Chandi Group USA. His family is in Rancho Mirage. And there's been a lot of conversation about him because he was just appointed the chairperson of the Palm Springs International Film Festival,
That's
which
correct.
launches this week. So that certainly is a hot topic. Tell me what the conversation has been around this particular issue.
I think that, well, the original poster that posted the Mary Hart picture was just making a point of I'm not sure if she's been designated as the hostess for the actual award ceremony as she has been in the past. But that poster was challenging why the festival would pick someone of her political or ideological persuasion. Um, and that aside, I was making the point, well, the chairman of the film festival was probably the largest donor to the Trump campaign and Trump inauguration in the entire Coachella Valley, and probably in the top 3 or 4 in California, large sums of money. Why would he be appointed to the Palm Springs as chairman of the Palm Springs International Film Festival? And I just think it's these kind of things are important for people to understand, given the fact that the predominant views of the gay community in Palm Springs aren't consistent with the views of individuals like those two. So I just think it's something people need to understand and appreciate.
Craig is echoing your sentiment, and um, Rock was grateful for the vaccines. I believe that that's what he means by that comment. And I also wanted to give a shout out to my buddy Aaron Terry, who goes by Elk Whistle, who's tuned in as well. I just knew that you and I would have a very easy time talking about a lot of things. We're over halfway into the show. And to tease the audience, just after this break, we're going to talk about a discussion in your group about Palm Springs' hottest new sex club. And I'm going to share whether or not I've been there, because as you can see from my shirt, I am a hopeful sexual, an avowed hopeful sexual. I'll be back with Raymond after this. This particular shirt is the crux of the Hopeful Sexual campaign, and it is designed to inspire authentic human connection while simultaneously combating sexuality-based shame and stigma. And the really cool thing is, if you go to hopefulsexual.com, it takes you to an Amazon store where this shirt is available in all sorts of styles, sizes, and colors. And I use the revenue to fund PromoHomo.TV. So check it out. I think almost everyone is a hopeful sexual, don't you? And we're back. So, Raymond, are you a hopeful sexual?
Probably not. I've
Well,
been married for like 15 years, and we have a monogamous relationship. And
well, you're hopeful to be sexual with each other, maybe, or maybe not. I
yeah,
mean, I
that's
don't mean to
that's
get all in your business, but
that's true.
yes, it doesn't mean you want to be hopefully sexual with everyone. It's just
Correct.
in general.
Yeah.
I did talk about before the break. There's a new sex club in town called Club 541,
Yep.
and I'm going to be interviewing MJ, the owner, and I'm going to do an interview inside the club. They won't be open, of course. And there are many people who watch my show that have heard about sex clubs, but I'm venturing to guess that almost everyone that sees that particular episode of my show will be seeing the inside of a sex club for the first time. So, without divulging right away whether or not I've been, I would love to know, Raymond, what the conversation was and has been in your group. And I have to say, you're an excellent moderator. It must be a full-time job to moderate
It
over
takes a lot of
13. I'm sure it does, because you're on top of it. And if there are many Facebook groups where they have very poor moderation, and I've
time.
left groups just because they got so out of control. But I
Yeah.
really appreciate the time and energy. So
Thank you.
Sort of talk about the initial conversations about the new club and how they've evolved and maybe where they're at now.
Sure. I think, well, as you know, 541 hasn't been open that long. And the owner, I more than welcome him to post his ads and whatnot in the group. I think it's been well received. I think folks in general hope that he's successful. They feel like, that's something guys want in Palm Springs. And I think in the past, I'm not positive, but I thought there was one up on Tackwitz Canyon Road for a very short amount of time. And they were only there for every other Saturday or something like that. And eventually they kind of folded and went away. So I think guys have been kind of hopeful that this would be more successful. And so far it seems to be, just from listening to the chatter in the group.
Well, I was supposed to interview MJ, and I also told him that I would try to make it to the club before I interviewed him. And I didn't make it to the club, but he had to cancel the interview. So I actually did go to Club 541 last Saturday night, and I went around 6 o'clock. I was there until 8 o'clock. And if anyone has ever been to the sex club in Los Angeles called the Slammer, which is not a drug reference, by the way, uh, uh, they're very very similar. And my whole thing is I'm very sex positive. I'm open about living with HIV. I'm open about having an undetectable viral load, and I talk about things like PEP, which is how you can avoid getting STDs, and I talk about PrEP, which is how someone who's HIV negative can avoid getting HIV. I'm just so out about all of this stuff. I just don't necessarily want to be watched in a sexual situation. I don't want an audience. Ideally, I'd love an old fashioned romance, but I'm 61 years old and I got really tired of waiting to have a sex life and wasting hours and hours on apps. So I thought, you know what? I need to just get over myself and my own issues about going to a club like that. And I just went. I wore this shirt. I didn't get naked. You can get naked there. They have lockers. You can check your clothes. But I wore this shirt. And I am going to go back. I think I went a little bit earlier than one needs to.
Yeah.
But I'm really grateful that we live in a city where we have that option.
Yeah. And I also think that it's a safer option. You mentioned the apps. There's a lot of discussion in the group and disagreement as to how safe the apps are.
Well, that ties into how your group was instrumental in solving a crime. So I would many crimes, frankly, catching the perpetrator, the alleged perpetrator at this point. Why don't you talk about that?
Sure. I think this started like last May. I'm sorry, back further, last February, so almost a year now, where we had what I consider now an incredibly brave individual. He lives in Tampa, St. Pete area, and he was visiting here in Palm Springs. His name is Rand Snell. I'm free to use his name because he's been very open about his experience,
On
and
television,
he's
yes.
been on TV, he's been in the press. Incredible courage to go into detail, to publish the pictures he published of his injuries and wounds, to discuss his horrible experience in graphic detail. He shared that in our group. There was a lot of discussion about the apps and how to avoid these kind of situations. And my take on it was, doesn't matter how good your judgment is. In a way, it's a bit like Russian roulette. Eventually, one of these predators is going to cross your path. It's a matter of statistics. And they're often a lot smarter than any of us are. So back to 541. In that context of what we just talked about, 541 is a much safer place to have those kind of encounters. After Iran came out, I had a lot of guys text me, private message me with Me Too kind of stories. And it was kind of incredible eye-opener. I think at the end of that process of identifying victims, getting some of them to step forward, we had up to potentially 19 victims. Despite all the cajoling, persuading, we're only able to get maybe 8 of them to step forward. In the case of one possibly related death in Rancho Mirage, that individual's husband has been extremely active and has been kind of our court watch monitor, keeping us updated on what's happening in the courthouse, because that case still hasn't come to trial. The individual has been in jail since last May, hearing after hearing after hearing, delay after delay. But justice is slow, and it's even slower in California. We had some incredible challenges. One of them was to try to convince Palm Springs police that this was a matter of urgency. As they were investigating, as they were slowly gathering evidence, there were more and more victims. In fact, there were 2 victims within the week or 10 days before he was finally arrested in May. So the situation got to be so serious that, if you remember, Chief Mills had a town hall with the gay community at Hunters on Arenas. And I was told that was the largest town hall ever held in Palm Springs. We had about 250 people in attendance. I think he did a remarkable job. I think he recognized that the police were slow to move, but he did take action, and he did have the courage to stand in front of a very angry, upset, concerned, and terrified community to let us know how things were moving forward.
Well, I think it's just really incredible what you're doing. I appreciate your service to the community. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, you and I would not have any problem finding things to talk about.
Oh, no.
We're like out of time. But I really would love for you to be a regular guest on the show and come back again.
Be happy to.
Well, thank you so much. I've posted a link to your Facebook group in the chat on all platforms except Instagram. And Craig says Chief Mills is sincere. He is. I love Chief Andy Mills. He and his wife Kathy have been really stellar advocates for our community. Well, once again, thank you so much for being on the show, and to everyone out there, we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Happy New Year again. Take care.
Bye.
In a safe place, I got room to breathe. Been a long chase, but at last I'm free. These open woods, I knew I could find peace here. Nothing like the city where I got tired of the running, the catching up. I got hungry for the stunning high mountain tops. So I made some plans, some dreams to catch, to promised lands, to find my path, see the planet from greater heights. I have found a place out of time and space, far from city lights. catching up. I got hungry for the sun.